Hello Sagittarius and welcome to your report. This segment is about happiness and joy and where to find it. And if you're a Sagittarius native, Sagittarius Sun or ninth house Sun, this is for you. Let's talk about you and how you can find the joy. Well, you're beautiful. You're really beautiful. You're really wonderful. You are somebody who's really enlightening in presence, and you are somebody who's a teacher beyond your own knowing. You do stuff or you don't do stuff, and we find you incredibly refreshing and incredibly enlivening, and something very still and yet always moving, and something that's very moving but yet always still, something about you. You know, there's a video online, it's random as fuck, but I'm sure you appreciate it on some level. There's like a chicken and then they move it around, but because of its design, the chicken's design, its head stays still, but the body's moving, and it's kind of like you. There is something inside you that always is still, and there's something inside you that is always ready for shifting, which is a beautiful, magnificent trait that we're all trying to learn. But how far do you take it? That's a question, because a lot of you guys don't take it very far, because you can go as far as wide as you want. You've got unreachable, unlimited heights that we don't really understand how to get to, and we're all sort of gagging for that energy. We're all gagging for that ability to be anywhere. We're all gagging for that inability to frown for too long, and the inability to speak untruth. Like, we're all looking to you and we're all going, wow, this guy or girl, man, they got it good. Whatever they got so much potential, but most likely you will not want to use it, and you will not want to give it up either. Like, there is a very strange frequency with you sometimes in your head as you are looking around without really wanting to nurture the idea that you have, because you kind of know nothing is really good unless you can enjoy it in the moment and not worry about it later. And that's something you learn from Scorpio, because see, like, your 12th house Scorpio. Okay, I'll stop talking too much. Let's just like get on to the main basics, because you got Saturn in your sign, you want the basic truth. Okay, so Sagittarians, what permits you to be happy a lot of the time is not wanting to be here. And that would mean that sometimes you will sacrifice yourself for other people or joys of others without really having any joy in your life. You may do a job that you hate. You might sacrifice your energy and your time for nonsense, because sometimes Sagittarius wants to be free of itself, and that means to be put into strange circumstances which are not really that great for you. And that would bring us to a really sad point, is that you can be anything at all, and yet you don't want to be. And with you it's fine. With us, it's sad. We look at you and we feel like we want to hear you, we want to see you, we want to love you, we want to linger with you, we want to really feel out what it is you do. And that is what you teach me and teach other people too, is that nothing is important and everything is just a game. And that is what we've come to really realize with you, Sagittarius, as you've progressed through this zodiac wheel a lot further than any other sign has, because you just don't freaking care about the meaning. Your meaning is the moment, and that becomes something that is really unreachable to us unless we can see you suffer. We see you suffer, we try to heal you, we try to hear you, we want to see what you got, and that will bring you satisfaction in the long run. But for now, I feel whatever you do, you need to stop bugging yourself about succeeding too much with things and then not enough with other things. You need to stop trying to feel what's working and what's not working, and why did I do this and why did I do that, because Sagittarians often bring themselves to this really placid wavelength where they can't really be bothered, but at the same time they'll do it, or they really want to do this but they won't do it because they got other things to do, and then they just don't have the spark anymore, because the now becomes just as good in the captivity as it is in the free zone. And that means that for us, Sagittarians become very specifically minded, and then people can't really give you enough. Like, you sort of create a very small circle where people don't give you enough entertainment or enough power or enough money or whatever you need. Like, you sort of need to be in a form of acceptance. You need to be in a place where you can accept from other people whatever they try to give you. But when you are not trying too hard and you're still trying and you're not doing too much but you're still doing and you kind of like sort of, what is it, saying, just neither here nor there. If you're in a wet blanket state, we can't really hold you. And if you're not here yet you are also not there, it's very easy to suffice with things that you have, but you deserve more. And sometimes you can hear yourself feel that you need more from life, and you have had the opportunities frequently, but you haven't been able to open up to the circle of friends and acquaintances and strangers, but we're all friends here on planet Earth anyway, to be able to grant to you what you need. And people, because third house is opposite to you, Gemini is opposite to you, people will bring you more than you need. If you can just let go of your preconception about yourself needing to be at the same time as free as you are occupied. So pulling yourself into situations where you're not quite there, but you're there in spirit, or maybe you are not there in spirit, you're there in the physical, you're in the physical, you're not there in spirit, you're sort of like, this is the same thing, you're sort of like rushing around doing things, but you're not really present to anyone, and you want that person around, but you don't actually want to talk to them. You know, things like that make it really hard for us to hear you and to heal you to better being. Cup of tea. Cheers. But sometimes, like with you, I feel nervousness and other people can really put you off reality, and that's because we can't help ourselves but be nervous around you, because you make us hold our breath, because we know that you're about to say or emit a frequency that will heal us or hear us or will suffice us. You do something and it's very small, you know, you might pour yourself a cup of tea yourself, and then it kind of like reverberates through us with a huge gush of emotion, and something in us really feels held and really feels focused for once, because you have a very focusing presence. But without this energy of limitation, you know, combining different things just for the sake of it, you kind of feel like you can't have the now. And that is something that's very treasured with us as well. Like, we know that sometimes you have to be ambiguous in order to suffice in the now, to really feel it as something that is passing, something that is generous and gentle, but at the same time nonsense. And that is something that we feel completely enamored by. But at the same time, if you want to receive more, if you want to achieve more, if you want to create more, and if you want to give more as well, there needs to be a surfacing of the ego. Cheers. And the ego for Sagittarian or 9th house sun is kind of like a very strange thing, but there needs to be a frequency that is a very egoic state, because you see, you got Scorpio before you, and that's your underground, and then you got Capricorn after you, which is your foreground. That is where you're going. So basically you're a power player without the need for power, and it's hard because power is where you've been, and power is where you'll go, because 10th and 8th house are power houses. Scorpio and Capricorn, they're like the power players in the zodiac. And then you kind of like wonder where to, and you kind of don't want to go here, you don't want to go there. It's between like a rock and a hard place. You got a wife, but you don't want to be at home, and then there is a girl, but you don't want to cheat on your wife, but what the hell, like at least you're not at home. And then you go to a house, oh my gosh, she's just like my wife, and you go back to your wife, okay, I don't want to be here, or I want to be with this other woman, and you're sort of between a rock and a hard place. And a lot of Sagittarius people can feel that, because power is scary, commitment is scary, conditioning is scary. There needs to be some kind of like a escape all the time, and sometimes escape is found in really mundane things as like a little secret, like, oh yeah, I just, you know, do the laundry. And just doing the laundry can be an incredible escape, because you don't have to talk to anyone, you don't have to be anyone, and you don't have to like commit to anything. But then, wow, what happens is basically Sagittarians become alive in a very conditional state, because they think they're running away. They got a smart idea, you know, like they're like sweeping the floor, and you know, they're doing something very simple, but at the same time they feel very free in that moment. But haha, you got to sweep the floor for the rest of your freaking life. And that gets really sort of sorry, like, wow, that's my story now. And a part of you is satisfied and a part of you is not. But then the ego has to be, and that means revolution, because Scorpio in your 12th house, or rather the house before you, if you're in the 9th house, Sun native, that means your 8th house. 8th house is Scorpionic house. Have a look at what's there. Well, power, money. I want more money. I want more. Aggression. I don't freaking believe in the government. And usually it's not about you, you know, but make it about you. Okay, sometimes like Sagittarians, like they get sad, like upset, but the Greenpeace, you know, they want to kill the whales and they get like, like weird about it, and they like can't stop thinking about it. Oh, but you know, those children in Africa, rah-de-rah. But no, like you got to make it about you, and as fun as, make it about Greenpeace for once. Yeah, okay, make it about Greenpeace, but eventually it has to become you, because it's just a reflection of yourself. Everything is a reflection of you in this universe. And then you kind of go, okay, well, I'm fucking sad. I'm hungry. I'm horny. I want more experience, you know, like I want more peace. I want more peace, but at the same time I want more joy, and I want to run around naked, and at the same time I want to be civil. I want all these things, and just freaking say them, and sometimes they won't make sense. Like, I want a freaking wife and a girlfriend. I don't give a fuck. I want them in the same house, because it's too hard to go from one house to the other. Or like, fuck, you know, I want everything. I want my cake and I want to eat it too. And how to make it happen, I don't know, but I want it. And that is something that gets nurtured. If you like create this idea, like I want to travel and I want to work while I travel, make a lot of money while I'm doing it. Or like say, I don't want to work at all, but I want to get paid for something that's very simple to do, that doesn't take a lot of time. I just freaking like, you know, yawn, you know, press a few buttons online, and then I get a lot of money. You know, and then you have to say it, because sometimes when you willy-nilly, that's the word, willy-nilly, you're not quite there, not quite here, you don't know quite where you are, it's very hard for the universe to connect to you and to give you exactly what you deserve. So sometimes it's got to be said, even if it's complete freaking crap. Well, actually, I don't want a bouquet of experiences. I want a very plain experience, and I want to be in the mountains where everybody sings and dances, but at the same time, they're also connecting to themselves spiritually. But you'll freaking experience it. It'll be given to you, but you have to be like, okay, well, I don't want the fucking government, but at the same time, I want peace and tranquility and society to be ruled very, very clearly. And it can be something that is like nonsense, but the more you say these kind of statements where you are between the rock and the hard place, but you're joining the rock and the hard place into what exactly you want, and then you like spur it out in a whole like new experience for all of us. And we're really waiting for you to do that, and I feel that would bring you peace. I feel that would bring you peace, because I don't actually feel that your experience of joy is the same experience as it is for us. And you don't really need joy from attainment, like I really wanted it and now I've got it, but it's almost like just to express or expel out of your system what you want from this world, is that's what you belong here to do. Say what you want from this world, and we'll be like, what the fuck? Like, you know, this guy said like, well, I want to eat all the carbs I want and still to lose weight. You know, how? And somebody in the collective will freaking find a way. And somebody will trick you in believing that it's not true, and that can never be. And then 2 years later, you read in the paper, a new bread created from, you know, carbohydrate-like material, but it's not carbohydrate at all. It tastes like carbohydrates, and it feels like you're eating a baguette, but you're actually eating something that's incredibly good for you and full of fiber or something like that. But you can actually do that thing, but it's like you need to make the calls as to what the world needs and what you want to experience. Anyway, like I'm sure like before cruise ships were created, some strange Gemini-driven Sagittarius talking to somebody said once, you know, well, I want a hotel that travels. You know, and there was a hotel that traveled on water, you know, things like that. And I really do feel that you make a lot of calls for innovation, and almost like a depressing moment when you're in depression or in some kind of a weird sadness and kind of like a weird stagnation, because I feel out of stagnation comes out this shoot of just like courage, where you're like, well, I want this, this, and the other thing, and it is given to you, and there is no limitation. But I feel until then, limitation is given to you until you can actually be honest with yourself and say, well, that's limiting. I want this, 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 and this. And the more you can state what you want, I feel the more will be given to you. Anyway, thank you very much, Sagittarius, for listening. Thank you very much for putting up with me, and for Saturn in your first house, or Saturn in your native sun. Hope you're having fun. I hope you're not like freaked out by this energy. And yes, have a wonderful time. Have a look at my blog, have a look at my website if you like. Book a reading, book a portrait, whatever you like or would not like, whatever you do. Say hi if you need to. If you don't need to, that's fine as well. Anyway, thank you very much. Hope to see you next time.